What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I have in my hands two pretty media-rich devices on their respective carriers. One, the Apple iPhone 4 out of Verizon as of earlier in the month, obviously been on AT&T since last year, and then the Samsung Galaxy S 4G on T-Mobile as of, just after Mobile World Congress on the 23rd. Both are $199, both have 5 megapixel cameras, the Galaxy S 4G TouchWiz resembles iPhone almost to a T. You can see the similarities there. So which one's the one to choose? We're going to find out in the dogfight. But first I have to make a comment. I was reading through the YouTube comments earlier today, and I saw one. I had a little bit of a scruff going on last week, as you can see by the picture above. And I was looking at that video, and one of the commenters said, you should grow your beard out, make it super long like Patrick Cox from the Taxmasters commercials, and you can see that's what he looks like. But if you've seen those commercials on TV, you know what I'm talking about. And it made me think, what if we did all of our PhoneDog intros like Taxmasters? Hello, I'm Aaron Baker, managing editor of PhoneDog.com. Listen, if the carriers are giving you the runaround with your new telephone, they're saying they can't set up your internets, they're telling you that electronic mail, it ain't gonna happen on your new telephone. Listen, I'm here to help. My trained professionals and I, we've got a great website called PhoneDog.com. We hook you up with the videos, we hook you up with the articles, we hook you up with everything else. Got some comments, the YouTubes, and everything more, so we can get you hooked up and ready to go on your new telephone. Don't let the carriers intimidate you. I literally got your back. No, I'm actually standing right behind you. Kind of creepy, ain't it? Anyway, be sure to check it out. PhoneDog.com. Don't let the carriers relentlessly pursue you. Do you think it would work? I don't know, maybe we'll give it a try one day, but special thanks to our friends at Best Buy Mobile. They're hooking us up with two of these for use in our One Pop Bandit game. One thing I like about Best Buy Mobile is you do actually walk out working, so they'll help you set up all of your stuff. Enough of that, let's get into the dogfight. Apple iPhone 4, Samsung Galaxy S 4G, dogfight starts right now. So here honestly are two fantastic media devices. One, the much ballyhooed Apple iPhone, now on Verizon, and been on AT&T since last year. Apple iPhone 4. I said Apple iPhone 4G in a video last week. I apologize, there were just too many 4Gs in that video and I got a little lost. On this one, the Galaxy S 4G, just came out on T-Mobile as of February 23rd. It's really more of an evolutionary upgrade from the Vibrant. You have the front-facing camera, a bigger battery, but otherwise, display is the same, camera is the same. It is running Android 2.2 now as opposed to 2.1, which is what the Vibrant launched with. It's able to go to 2.2 now. But all in all, an evolutionary upgrade here. The Verizon version, at least, of the Apple iPhone 4, no real changes with the exception of some minor antenna design changes, as you can see here, and the mobile hotspot capability. That said, you lose on the Verizon iPhone, and really this video I'm comparing it to the iPhone across the board, not just the Verizon one, but the AT&T one as well. So, keep that in mind when you're watching the review. Anyway, it does not have, simultaneous voice and data, obviously, because it is, regular CDMA. So, that's something to keep in mind, whereas on a GSM network that utilizes the AWS bands, you, as well as others, you can do that at the same time. You can do voice and data. So if that's something that's important to you, and that's an absolutely critical feature, the Galaxy S 4G is the one to go with, dogfight over. But that said, both of these are fantastic, and you can see, I've always made the claim in the videos that you can really see Samsung's TouchWiz user interface, which is what this is running. It's Android 2.2, but TouchWiz. You can see the similarities to the iPhone, and now that they're side by side, you can really see what I mean there. They're very, very similar. They have the the 4 shortcuts down here, so it's really one of those things where prior to Verizon getting the iPhone 4, something like the Galaxy S 4G or the Vibrant or the Fascinate was a great replacement for those that that were interested in the iPhone but didn't have the iPhone on their respective carrier. So it's something to keep in mind. Now on the Galaxy S 4G, let's just recap the specs. Apple A4 processor, 3.5-inch Retina display here, 5 megapixel camera on the back with a flash, front-facing camera, and that's, in terms of design, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous design, which we'll get into in just a second. On this one, 1 GHz Hummingbird processor, 4-inch Super AMOLED display, so the display is larger and it's also high resolution. 5 megapixel camera, 1,650 milliamp battery, and front-facing camera. You look at the design of both of these, and honestly, this may be something that sways you, depending on what's most important to you. When you look at the iPhone 4, there's nothing on the market right now that matches the iPhone 4. Say what you will about the iPhone 4. I mean, it definitely has its pros and its cons, but in terms of just design, there's nothing that matches, you know, how absolutely beautiful this device is. Metal on the sides, glass on the top, glass on the bottom, and just absolutely beautiful in terms of design versus something that is more plasticky like the Galaxy S 4G. Now, obviously, the trade-off with that is you take this device in your hand and you drop it even at like 2 or 3 feet, this thing's going to crack or going to shatter. I dropped mine, even with a case on, I dropped it face down one time, shattered the screen. So, you know, something to keep in mind there. Yes, it is more beautiful, but that means it's more prone to issues. But I mean, that said, you know, it's an absolutely gorgeous device, all metal, like it's, you know, by far the best looking device on the market, but more prone to damage. Then you see something like this, and it's definitely nice. The chrome on the sides, they've revamped the battery door. It's a little bit more silver now, as opposed to kind of a glossy black cover. Other than that, you know, everything's pretty similar, and it has that hump on the bottom like the Vibrant did. So design-wise, very similar, but you know, not that in terms of build quality, not that amazing. It's very plasticky, as with the rest of the Galaxy S line. So you've got to decide if, you know, build quality is important to you. I would definitely give that to the iPhone 4. That said, on the Galaxy S 4G, volume rocker on the left, power button on the right, just like the Vibrant, micro USB charging port with the sliding door on the top, 3.5mm headphone jack up here. Now on the iPhone 4, the little switch between vibrate and normal volume rocker. Now in the AT&T version, the volume rocker switch here is actually a little bit lower than on the Verizon one, so a little minor thing to keep in mind. 3.5mm headphone jack on the top, a little secondary microphone there, and your power button. Other than that, it's pretty minimalistic in terms of design. That one typical Apple button, as you know, and the speakers on the bottom, 5-megapixel camera on the back. Now you have your front facing on the left side here, front facing on the right side there, and then 5-megapixel camera on the back here, which is interesting because given that this is a, you know, an evolutionary upgrade, you would have thought that they would have added a flash, but they did not. It's still a 5-megapixel camera without a flash. Now out of the box, you get a couple of applications with the T-Mobile T-Mobile Galaxy S 4G. Too many phones in 1 week. T-Mobile Galaxy S 4G. You'll see, you know, AirSync. You'll see AllShare. You'll see DriveSmart, which happens to be one of my favorite programs. There's DriveSmart Plus and DriveSmart Regular Edition, and on this one it is the Regular Edition. But you can turn it on, and when you're driving, you can have people, you know, they call you, they text message you. It'll send them an auto text back saying, "Hey, I'm driving, and I'll call you when I get to my destination." So, you know, very cool. And then if you upgrade to DriveSmart Plus for your kids or something, you can upgrade to DriveSmart Plus and control it so when the car is in motion, they can't, you know, physically can't text message until the car is stopped. So, you know, all in all, very cool features, and it definitely unencourages or disencourages the use of text messaging while on the road. Facebook, Gmail, all the typical stuff. GoGo, in-flight access, Kindle, Samsung's Media Hub, which is definitely getting better and better by the day. T-Mobile's My Account and My Device, both pre-installed there, and a couple of things like Quadrant Standard. T-Mobile TV on this one, Telenav as well, Think Free Office, quick video chat installed on there now, obviously because of the front-facing camera. It does have visual and voicemail. It has Wi-Fi calling, so you can take advantage of the Wi-Fi calling. If you're in an area, excuse me, if you're in an area where T-Mobile service isn't the best, you can switch over to Wi-Fi and call. Now it does use your plan minutes. So that's something, you know, to keep in mind. You're not getting free minutes. And then, of course, you have your mobile access point here where you can click that on and use it just like a mobile hotspot. So it has quite a few features. This has the mobile hotspot as well. This is the Verizon version, which does have the mobile hotspot. It's coming to AT&T at some point. But you can see, I mean, it's relatively, minus the apps that, of course, I've installed, it's a stock build. There's no Verizon applications on this device out of the box. No, you know, or AT&T either. No carrier installed applications, completely free of that. And this is very similar to what it looks like out of the box, with the exception of iBooks. When you get onto the App Store, it'll ask you if you want to download iBooks. So you look at something like web browsing, you know, the iPhone has traditionally been very good in terms of transition effects. So even when the page is running slowly or takes a little bit longer for it to load, let me actually pull that off of portrait orientation only. You can see the transition effects are very smooth. I mean, all in all, it's a fast phone, not to say that there's not any lag, but you can see, you know, the transition effects. And it's one of those things, I've said this actually on Windows Phone 7 as well. You know, it's a slower, I mean, it's all about the transition effects. You can take, you know, 3 or 4 seconds as long as you have a pretty little transition that throws consumers off of the fact that there's a lag, as opposed to something like this where it's not so pretty. It's, you know, kind of bam, bam, you know, very blocky, and then all the icons kind of rotate into place. You can see kind of shift. And, you know, I think that's one thing for consumers. It can be equally, you know, this one to me is equally as long. But you look at, you know, you look at just the difference in the transition effects. That's really something that's make or break to me. Let's try a site here, PhoneDog. I know this site pretty well, PhoneDog.com. Let's go to it on here. Let's see here, PhoneDog.com. We'll load it right up. So you can see it's already loading up here, and it's not finished, but we can get an idea of the pinch to zoom. I mean, that to me, for an Android device, there's a little bit of checkerboarding, but don't, you know, take that with a grain of salt because it is, you know, still loading. But you can see pinch to zoom to me is very fast there with little to no lag whatsoever. And some of the earlier Android devices that were running 2.2 did have some issues with lag, but it seems like that's been improved. And you can see even though the flash advertisements are running over here on the side, you can see those popping up, little torches popping up. It's still loading, or I mean, excuse me, still pinch to zooming relatively quickly. You can double tap, of course, and get an idea of what the page looks like. Bring it in. There's a little bit of lag there, but once you're in, there's none whatsoever. Now let's take a look at the iPhone 4. You can see pinch to zoom, again, relatively smooth as well. We'll zoom in a little bit more, actually. You can see a little bit of a lag right there. So a little bit of checkerboarding. But the one thing I will give the iPhone credit for is when you zoom all the way in, that Retina display and the text is very, very clear. So I mean, we're zoomed in pretty closely, and you can see it's still lagging. I mean, it's lagging right now. There we go. So we're zoomed in pretty closely, and that is all very, very, very clear. I mean, it looks just like normal. So, and it's one of those things, they actually advertised this in the commercial when the device came out. Even with small text, you're supposed to still be able to read it versus small text on any other device. So, you know, when it's out somewhere like this, you know, you're supposed to be able to hold it up and read the tiny text if you have, you know, decent vision. But you can see this one's just lagging like none other. So I'm actually pretty disappointed in that. But you can see front and back buttons here. Add a bookmark. You can do, you know, and send stuff as well. Add to home screen, mail link, your bookmarks, and then of course new windows. So you're reading PhoneDog, for example. Let's say you want to open up a second window. You can do that, and it gives you an idea of how many windows are open. You can scroll back over and click on it. So you know, once it's zoomed out, for example, I can still read, you know, Zoom 4G plan spelled Doom. The first official Android 3.0 Honeycomb powered tablet is available right now. So even though the text is very small, I can still read it. I can't say that with this one. I can't read the Zoom 4G. I see the title, Zoom 4G plan spelled Doom, but I can't read what's underneath that. So that's one of the benefits of the Retina display. And it is a smaller display, but very, very, very high resolution. Not to say that AMOLED isn't, but when you do compare the displays, I think the Retina display holds out and is a little bit better by a slim margin. Now on the web browsing front, you know, I really am appreciative of the transition effects, but that little bit of lag that you saw was kind of frustrating. So I have to give it a tie in terms of web browsing.